Last week, one of Germany's most powerful state broadcasters published a segment blaming Elon Musk for sparking race riots in Belfast. Within days, that segment was gone, deleted, wiped from the internet after Musk's legal team sent a cease and desist that ZDF, Germany's second largest public broadcaster, could not ignore. The mainstream media reported this as a scandal, Musk censoring the press, a billionaire silencing journalism. But here's what they're not telling you. ZDF didn't fight it. They didn't defend their reporting. They didn't stand behind their journalists. They just deleted it. And that tells you everything you need to know about who was actually lying. Let's go back to June 8, 2026, Belfast, Northern Ireland. A Sudanese man carried out a stabbing attack that was filmed and immediately spread across social media. It was brutal, it was real, and people were angry. By the following afternoon, protests were being organized across the city. Some of those protests turned violent. Cars were burned, windows smashed. It was ugly. Now, Musk posted on X that same day. He amplified posts about the attack and wrote that only loud, repeated protests would bring change. His critics immediately blamed him for what followed. They said he poured fuel on the fire. They said he incited the riots. ZDF ran with that narrative. Their June 12th broadcast live opened with a segment titled, and I'm quoting directly, "Riots in Belfast, How Musk is Fueling the Protests." Not allegedly fueling, not accused of fueling, just a flat statement of fact from a state-funded broadcaster with a budget of over 2 billion euros a year, accountable to the German government. Now here's where it gets interesting. Musk didn't tweet about it. He didn't post a meme. He didn't go on X and rage about fake news, even though he easily could have. He lawyered up. Via a German law firm, Musk sent ZDF a formal cease and desist demanding they retract the disputed opening segment. Under German press law, this is a serious legal instrument. It puts the broadcaster on notice that the content is considered defamatory or factually incorrect, and it opens the door to injunctions and damages if they refuse. ZDF had a choice. They could stand behind their reporting, they could publish their evidence, they could fight it in court and let a judge decide whether their framing was accurate. They chose none of that. ZDF confirmed in their own statement that they had complied and removed the disputed passage. Listen to that again. One of the largest state media organizations in Europe, funded by mandatory license fees from every German household, backed down within days. So why does that matter? Because we're constantly told that Musk is the threat to free speech, that he's the dangerous one, that his influence over X, the platform he owns, makes him uniquely powerful and uniquely dangerous. But think about what just happened here. A broadcaster made a claim, a specific claim, that Musk was fueling riots. Musk said that claim was false and demanded they prove it or delete it. They deleted it. If ZDF had solid evidence, they would have fought. Broadcasters with strong legal teams and billion-euro budgets do not fold to billionaires without reason. You don't just delete your content unless you know you can't defend it. That's not Musk censoring the media. That's the media getting caught and quietly cleaning up the mess before a courtroom forces them to. Now I want to zoom out here, because this story is bigger than one segment on one German news show. ZDF is state media. It's funded by a tax called, and forgive the pronunciation, Rundfunkbeitrag, roughly 18 euros per month, that every household and business in Germany is legally required to pay. There's no opt-out. You pay whether you watch it or not. You pay whether you agree with its editorial line or not. This is the organization that is supposed to be the gold standard of objective, accountable journalism. And when legally challenged on a specific factual claim, they deleted the content rather than defend it. Meanwhile, the coverage since then has framed Musk as the villain of this story. German politicians called his posts irresponsible. British politicians demanded action against X. The narrative machine kept spinning. But the segment that started the whole media pile-on, gone. Let's also talk about what Musk actually posted, because the coverage of that has been deliberately vague. He posted about the Belfast attack. He said protests, repeated and loud, were necessary for change. He amplified posts about the violence of the attack itself. Is that irresponsible? You can debate that. Reasonable people disagree. But there is a significant difference between a public figure commenting on a news event and a state broadcaster asserting as fact that he fueled riots. One is an opinion, the other is a legal claim with real consequences. Musk's legal team drew that line, ZDF crossed it, and when it came to it, ZDF blinked. There's also something worth noting about the timing. This happened the same week that Musk crossed into trillionaire territory, the richest human being in the history of the planet. His legal resources are essentially unlimited. Any broadcaster, any journalist, any outlet that makes a factually shaky claim about him now faces a legal opponent with infinite runway. That changes the calculus for everyone. You can't just run with a narrative anymore. You can't just say Musk fueled riots with a cheeky headline and move on, because he can and probably will send in lawyers. Some people see that as dangerous. A billionaire, trillionaire now, using legal pressure to shape his coverage? But here's the counter-argument. Every other public figure has the same right to challenge false statements. The difference is that most of them don't have the resources to actually use it. Musk does, and when he used it, the broadcaster couldn't back up what they said. If your reporting is solid, a cease and desist is just paper. You fight it, you win. You make your opponent look foolish. ZDF didn't do that. What we're watching in real time is a fundamental shift in the relationship between major media institutions and the people they cover. For decades, state broadcasters and legacy media operated with enormous structural advantages. They had the platforms, they had the audiences, they had the legal teams, and the people they covered, even powerful ones, often had limited ability to push back beyond a press release or a frustrated tweet. That era is ending. Musk owns one of the world's largest information platforms. He has resources that dwarf most media organizations, and he has shown repeatedly that he is willing to use both. ZDF learned that lesson last week. Now, I'm not here to tell you Musk is always right. His posts about Belfast were inflammatory. The situation in Northern Ireland is complicated and painful, and the people affected by those riots are real. This is not a simple story with simple heroes and villains. But the specific question of whether ZDF's framing was accurate enough to withstand legal scrutiny, ZDF answered that question themselves when they deleted the segment. That is the story. Not that Musk is dangerous, not that free speech is under threat. The story is that a major state broadcaster with all its resources and institutional credibility made a claim that it could not legally defend about the world's most prominent private individual, and when challenged, it quietly disappeared the evidence. If you were a journalist at ZDF right now, you should be furious, not at Musk, at your own organization. Because what your management just communicated to the world is that your editorial standards are negotiable under legal pressure. This is a far bigger threat to journalism than anything Elon Musk posted on X. This story is not over. The cease and desist covered one segment. The broader debate about Musk's influence on British and European politics is continuing. Legal observers in Germany are now watching to see if this sets a precedent for how public figures can challenge state media. And Musk, for his part, has said nothing publicly about the ZDF situation. He doesn't need to. The deletion speaks for itself.